The judge in the trial of Pastor Timothy Omotoso will rule this afternoon on the defence's application to compel the state to furnish them with more particulars. Earlier this week, Omotoso's lawyer, Peter Daubermann, told the court that the charge sheet as it stands is too vague with regards to dates and times of the alleged offences. Omotoso faces charges including rape, human trafficking and racketeering. For more on this story, we cross to our reporter, Jayed-Leigh Paulse, who's been covering this story from the beginning. Jayed-Leigh, what's going on?
Well, yesterday we saw State Prosecutor Daubermann tell the court that this was just a delay tactic by defense lawyer Peter Daubermann in the Omotoso trial. And we expect Judge Irma Schoeman to grant her ruling today on whether the state must actually furnish the defense with more particulars on the indictment. You would know that yesterday Peter Daubermann spent a lengthy time in court, going over the indictment, saying that there were several inaccuracies with the charge sheet relating to the time, the place and the dates. And he was merely saying that it was impossible for the defense to actually come with an alibi of Omotoso as to how they're going to address this. So the state really saying that the defense this is a delaying tactic, and the defense saying that no, they need more particulars. But what was interesting to come out of yesterday was also the fact that the defense has said that they were not furnished with particulars by the state, whereas the state has said they have given all the particulars to them. So it really was a back and a forth motion in court. But it remains to be seen whether Judge Irma Schoeman will side with the state and whether the defense will, rather the state will have to furnish them with those particulars.
So Jayed-Leigh, what happens this afternoon when the judge makes her decision or delivers her decision? If it's against the defense, will proceedings continue and the trial start, or do we have to wait another day before it starts?
Well, that is exactly what State Prosecutor Daubermann was saying yesterday in court. He was saying that should they have to furnish the defense, this will be another delay. That would mean they'd have to go back to the drawing board, they'd have to go through the charge sheet once again, and they would have to go through every single docket. You would know there's 48 witnesses, and they would have to go through all those dockets in order to get the accurate times, the accurate places that the defense wants them to give. So it's going to be lengthy, and I suppose, Nompu, that if this does sway in the defense's line, or if they are, if they are granted this application by Judge Irma Schoeman, that would mean there will be possibly more postponements, and we'll probably see the trial resuming in another week or two. So it really remains to be seen whether the application will be granted to the defense and whether they will actually be successful in that application to compel the state to bring more particulars.
I see that you're in the very dull environment of the court itself. Usually you do your crossings amid protesters or at least supporters of Omotoso. Is there anything happening outside? Are people gathered there or not?
Well, the trial starts at 2 o'clock promptly, and outside we were walking around and there's absolutely no one. We haven't seen the Jesus Domain International Church members, we haven't seen civil society members, as well as the political parties that were here yesterday. But I presume that once 1 o'clock comes, they will be coming out in their numbers. You would also know, Nompu, that the church is actually just a street away from the courthouse. So usually the congregants walk up after they have a mass service for Timothy Omotoso, and then they congregate and they hoist their placards and sing, worship songs for the pastor. But yes, I am coming to you from the security, side, the reception here at the Port Elizabeth High Court. And this is exactly where everyone checks in to come in. You would know that if you've been following the trial, that access into courtroom A is very strict. We've only got limited number of seats for journalists, but also a limited number of seats for the public at large. So there's only been a few people in the courtroom. And this is basically just to monitor that there aren't an overflow of people, but also to ensure that both Timothy Omotoso supporters, his wife Taiwo Omotoso, senior pastors, and then political bigwigs as well in the province are furnished with a seat in court. Nompu.
All right, Jayed-Leigh, we're going to catch up with you later as and when the proceedings